it is 6:01, so I think we're good to go. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order as extended on June 15, 2021, with the governor signing of Senate Bill number 2475 suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, this meeting of the Easthampton Conservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found below. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the City of Easthampton website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Should an interruption occur in which the meeting ends abruptly, the meeting will not be restarted and all agenda items will be automatically continued to the next scheduled meeting. I will now call to order the August 9th, 2021 meeting of the Easthampton Conservation Commission. Are there any public concerns or non-agenda items? I will note for the record, Commissioner Teffer indicated that she would not be available for this evening's meeting. Moving on, public hearings and meetings continued from July 26th. Notice of intent filed by Lathrop Community Inc. at 100 Basset Brook Drive, map 104, lot 2 for improvements to existing trail network, Mass DEP file number 1510315. Is there anyone present this evening for this item?
What was the address again?
100 Basset Brook Drive, the Lathrop community? No. Right, I haven't gotten an update on that, but is there a motion to continue to August 23rd, 2021 at 6 p.m.?
A motion to continue to August 23rd at 6 p.m.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, roll call vote. August?
Aye.
Busa?
Aye.
Buttrick?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Teffer absent. Whittemore?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item, public hearing. Notice of intent filed by the Berkshire Design Group, Inc. at 3 Mountain Road, map 160, lot 53, for construction of a new single-family home with associated driveway, Mass DEP file number 135103116. I will note that the commission received correspondence from Berkshire Design Group dated August 9th, 2021, requesting on behalf of their client, Holly Gagnon, the owner of 3 Mountain Road, they respectfully request to remove their application without prejudice. So they are withdrawing their notice of intent under the Wetlands Protection Act. Commissioner Buttrick, do you have any comments with regard to stormwater under the city's ordinance?
Yes, I should just comment that the disturbance for that proposed project, I guess, was just under an acre, but over the 10,000 square foot threshold, where the city's stormwater ordinance has a small project provision. And given the location of that proposed work up gradient from some other residences, I would hope that when it comes time to obtain a building permit, that the process laid out in the ordinance addresses how stormwater runoff from the site will be managed in order to reduce the chance of offsite impacts.
Okay, so
That
we
is
will.
all.
Thank you. So we will note that for the city's conservation agent upon her return.
Very good.
Okay. Right, moving on to requests for certificates of compliance, of which there are none. Enforcement actions. I am looking to. It looks like there was a site visit to 10 O'Neill Street that I can't open the files to. Does anyone have access to the images Cassie shared?
So could I ask you a question about the last case that you won? Because that's why I'm here, because I'm in a butter to the 2 Mountain Road.
Sure.
What state is it at now, or who's going to explain to us about, the wetlands? Because we do experience a lot of water in our yard.
Sure. So the Conservation Commission's jurisdiction is defined by the Wetlands Protection Act. And the Wetlands Protection Act has some definitions that don't always work for the side, don't always extend jurisdiction to runoff from the side of Mount Tom. Basically, if there's a stream, there has to be, if it's an intermittent stream, there has to be an upgradient wetland resource area that it flows from or through. And there's no upgradient wetland. And the impoundment, the small pond, is too small to be considered a pond under the Wetlands Protection Act because it's less than 10,000 square feet. And then there's not another wetland, there isn't then the water flows off the property. So in a somewhat unusual set of circumstances, this is not an area that the commission has jurisdiction over because there's no Wetlands Protection Act defined wetlands. Which is why, so there's no buffer zone. It doesn't mean that there aren't other state and federal regulations that have jurisdiction. There are under the Clean Water Act, but that's not something the Conservation Commission has any jurisdiction under. So
do these people, or Heather was her name, does she still have to continue with the process to be able to build, or is it just done, it's off the boards?
So the area described is not subject to the commission's review under the Wetlands Protection Act, meaning it doesn't need to get a permit from the Conservation Commission for wetlands. Commissioner Buttrick, and we will follow up with the conservation agent, Cassie Traggart, the activity is still subject to the city's stormwater ordinance. Basically, because it's greater than 10,000 square feet of land disturbance, ground disturbance, it still needs to have what was a small project, minor project, small project.
Yeah, I don't, something like that. I don't get the exact word.
So the city has a separate ordinance that deals with land disturbance associated with development or redevelopment. And that is a permit that will have to be obtained from, if the planning board isn't involved, then it would be issued by the Conservation Commission. Correct, Dan?
It's actually the building, it's a building inspector, building permit type approval for those projects. So what we can do is we'll have the conservation agent talk to the building inspector and get it coordinated as part of that process.
Okay, that answered my question. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Yes, you're welcome. Bye.
Okay. So, was anyone able to access the file photos?
I haven't actually found them. When did she email a link?
It was emailed in the ongoing project updates, emailed on Thursday, August 5th.
Yeah, I can't get it to launch to open up.
Yeah, me neither. With that in mind, let's not troubleshoot that right now.
Okay.
We have 2 people in attendance, Jeff Bagg, who are not commission members, I should say. Jeff Bagg, and it looks like Jason Lagana. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing names. Do we want to take items out of order so that we don't have to keep people waiting longer than they need to?
Sure.
Okay. All right, so Jeff, I think you're here because of the Ferry Street project?
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to speak to the board?
Yep. No, thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate taking it out of order. My goal for being here was to help. I'm assisting DPW in trying to address some of the invasive species that are growing along the new multi-use path on Ferry Street. And so we're trying to come up with a two-step program, which is the first one, which would be a proposed cutting of the vegetation now. And then a secondary step would be to try to address the conditions of the city's permit, which would be to present a long-term invasive species management plan that would kind of set out the procedures for maybe this fall, but definitely next spring, and then into the future. So what I was hoping is that we could do it in two pieces. We've been getting complaints that the area is overgrown and now encroaching onto the new path. And DPW has a piece of equipment that's the way that I would describe it is that it's not a mower that would be horizontally spinning the blade. It's a vertical device that the blade spins vertically. And so in coordination with DPW, we thought that it would fit under the bundled NOI for kind of roadside maintenance. And, you know, in talking to Greg Nuttleman, who's the DPW director, we could access the area with a mini excavator. So that would go along the paved path, and it has an arm that would go over the railing and use the vertical cutter just to take the top 3 feet or so off to knock it down for basically this summer season. And then, you know, that's what we're hoping for. I guess it wasn't clear. I talked to Cassie. It wasn't clear whether we absolutely needed to come to the commission to make sure that you felt that it fit under the bundled NOI. But we wanted to try to do that soon, just kind of the top cut. And then in my office, myself, we're going to try to work with a company to prepare a long-term invasive species management plan. Right now, we're getting a proposal from Invasive Land Inc., who's doing the work at Eckodale. And so we're just waiting to see that proposal to understand what kind of costs are involved in preparing that plan. And then we would bring that to the commission probably for maybe, you know, at this point, it would probably be maybe September. If we can get a proposal that's reasonable for that work, we would present it to the commission and then have a plan kind of going forward for both. You know, the city is willing to do a little bit while we're still operating with Mass Works funds. That contract goes until next June. So the city might, you know, where the city is going to create the plan, get the plan approved by the commission, and then we might be able to pay for one cutting. And then from there, it would be the developer's responsibility to implement that plan kind of going forward. Because it's, you know, this area is, it's a privately owned area, but the city has the easement. So we're trying to work in partnership with the owner, you know, the developer of Ferry Street, to come up with a plan. So we're just hoping to present this to the commission and see if we can get permission to cut this summer, because it's, if you've been out there, it's pretty overgrown right now. So I guess that's kind of my summary.
All right. Are there questions from the commission? Jeff, and I have to explain, Cassie creates you know, documents with links to a shared drive, and I'm not sure about others, but I can't seem to get it to open right now. So we don't have our usual files available at our fingertips to review. So I think, if I'm recalling correctly, I don't recall the specifics of the special conditions of the order, but there were requirements in the order, not just to inventory, but to actually come up with a plan. And it sounds like the city is in the process of coming up with a plan.
Yeah, that's correct. I think through the Mass Works project, the contractor prepared the inventory, but I don't think there was clarity on the condition, at least initially, for the actual management plan. So, you know, and now that it's overgrown, it's obvious that we need to do something. So we're hoping to create the two-step process where we can cut it. And then the city is willing, because we still are funded through Mass Works, we're willing to work with a consultant to prepare the actual management plan that was part of that condition. So I guess my long story is that we're still doing punch list items with that project. So we're not done. There's still benches and there's some other items that there's some lighting that's going to go in. So we're hoping to still meet that condition, but we are going to take on getting a proposal from a consultant to come up with a plan.
Jeff, do you know, or maybe anybody on the commission remembers from the inventory, what the invasives are that are primarily in that area?
I had it. I'm obviously not in my office or anything right now, but the plan was submitted to Cassie, and I'm pretty sure it made it to the commission. So I think it's pretty traditional invasives. I don't know off the top of my head. I could probably pull up the plan if the commission needed to see that for the purposes of tonight. I can definitely find it. It just might take me a minute.
I'm asking because like I don't recall there being any knotweed there. I don't think I've seen any, but that's one where if you cut it, the pieces will distribute, and if they get in the water, they'll get transported downstream and take root. I would also be concerned at this point of year if there's swallowwort that the little seed pods could be spread and then those blow around like dandelion seeds. So just thinking about what you're asking to do and whether that would potentially spread the problem more than help to be the first step in curbing it.
As I understand it, Julie, the cutting is less invasives management and more nuisance vegetation encroachment management, not meant to curtail, but you raised two good points, which is this, or a good point, which is that this could actually exacerbate the problem.
My
What is their, go ahead, I'm sorry.
my untrained eyes have noticed mostly, I think, bittersweet vines like sticking up and looking for a place to grab onto. And none of the other vegetation looks like anything that I recognize as an invasive, but I'm an idiot. So I didn't see any knotweed, but I never stopped and got out of the car and looked closely.
Yeah, I don't think there's knotweed there. I think we would all kind of know if there was. So it probably, I don't think there would be a major issue if it's mostly bittersweet. So.
What is the schedule for this first cutting, Jeff?
Because we're trying to do it in-house. I mean, Greg we could be doing it next week. DPW has all the equipment that's necessary. I was trying to pull up the plan, and I'm sensitive to what the commission's asking. So if it makes sense, I can try to pull it up. We're battling like the encroachment onto the paved path, and I think we could probably let it go, but I think we're going to continue to get complaints. Greg did send part of his crew out there to go over the railing by hand and cut some of the vegetation that's going through the railing, but that didn't go over well with his team when they have the actual mechanical equipment next to them that they could be using. But if it is of interest, I can try to pull it. I was just trying to fish it out while we were moving here.
So kind of along those lines, and with what Julie was saying, like with the cutting that they're going to do, what happens to the cut vegetation? Is it just kind of?
It's going to fall into that embankment area. I mean, that's what part of what we were hoping is that the flail mower is what Greg was calling it, is that it's the vertical churning, which has less of a, it's like less of a debris
Spreading.
Yeah, than just a horizontal mower. So that's what we were hoping, would meet your would kind of balance the two. I'm going to try to pull up that the inventory, if that will please the commission. If that makes it a little bit better to know that there's not those two plants that you were worried about.
Thank you.
Yeah, I found it. So if I'm able to share, okay, I am able to share.
You are.
Okay, thank you very much. So this is the plant list here. Because I'm not an expert in this. What were the two plants that you were most concerned with?
The swallowwort.
Swallowwort.
So there's, all right, so that's number 4. I don't see any of the other one. The other one was knotweed, right?
Mhm.
So if you look at 4 on this map, can everyone see the map?
Yeah.
Yes.
4, it looks like it's kind of confined to that eastern side, two sections. I guess I would ask a question, and I know this is what we were trying to get, which is the actual management plan. But you know, will there be a way to deal with the plants, or will we have to wait till some other time in the season, especially for that swallowwort?
Julie, do you know if the
From what you-
swallowwort is going to seed right now, or is it still green?
It's starting to. I've seen a few starting
Okay.
to open. So the
right.
best thing that could be done to help keep that one from spreading and keep it from being a larger problem next year would be if the pods were actually removed and bagged and thrown away as trash. That would be the best thing you could do in terms of getting a start on the long-term management, and also making sure that it isn't going to spread further when it's cut. But it's airborne anyways, so if they're left there, they're going to open and spread.
Right.
If you cut them, they're going to open and spread. So it's kind of, the cutting won't necessarily make a big difference there, I guess.
Okay. So I guess the other question is, I believe this is a work category 3 under the bundled notice of intent. If that's how this is acceptable, I think that this generally qualifies with the spirit of that maintenance provision. Does anyone want to discuss that?
Makes sense to me.
I'm okay with it.
Okay. Deb?
I think we,
Michael? Sorry, I just want to.
I think we lost Jeff, that's all.
Uh-oh. Well, Jeff can watch the video. If Jeff jumps back on, we'll just keep an eye on the waiting. There he is. So Jeff, we were just generally discussing that this does appear to be covered as part of the maintenance provisions under work category 3, roadside vegetation maintenance.
Did you say it does or doesn't get covered?
It does.
Okay.
Included. So it's, again, we just don't have the table in front of us of what work category 3 activities are required to do in terms of notice. I think it's just 4 and 5 that require Conservation Commission notification.
Right. Okay.
So I think, as discussed, it can proceed in that light, and then the commission will look forward to seeing the actual management plan, longer term management plan in September.
Well, I appreciate that. I did look at the bundle, and it wasn't clear that we had to notice the commission, but we wanted to kind of give you an update that we are trying to do this as well. I think the one cutting is what we're hoping to do before we have the management plan.
Mhm.
So I think DPW is poised to do it, so we can get it done quickly if that actually is helpful. And then we'll report back as soon as we get the management plan. I think what we're expecting is one cutting now, and then we'll come back.
Okay, well, that sounds good. So I think that's resolved for now.
Okay, thanks for accommodating me early. I'm sorry that I lost the Wi-Fi for a minute, so I appreciate that.
You appear to be mobile, so understood.
I'm driving. My wife's driving. Just for the record.
All right. Thank you.
Gotcha.
All right.
Appreciate your time, Jeff.
Yep. Good night.
Okay. Well, we seem to have lost the other participant who was here when the meeting began. So we'll keep an eye out for anyone in the waiting room or rejoining. But that said, regarding going back into agenda order under enforcement actions, Cerna, there was a link for something regarding 10 O'Neill Street. Did anyone accompany Cassie on a site visit recently?
Did not.
Okay.
So what were the dates for the site visits? Because I went
I don't know.
on my own in April and I went back in July. And I sent her pictures. So I don't know if she went after or.
I have no idea. In her ongoing project updates dated August 9th, it just says, please use this link for the images. I don't know what images those were, but Deb, is there something from your July visit you'd like to describe?
Well, there's nothing on the grass. It's
Okay.
just that we were saying it looked like about 5 feet in from the curb. It looks like it's being mowed, but everything else has grown up. So it looks good except for that area. And I think that's what Cassie wanted us to discuss.
Okay. I think we'll, absent the photos, I'm not
Right.
sure how much discussion we can have, maybe
Yeah.
make it clear that we would like to discuss this further, potential mowing during the August 23rd meeting. Okay. Okay. The next comment under enforcement actions, Cernak. It says no updates, reconnect in the spring. We're well past spring, so I think I would like an update on the status of this and where we are relative to overall compliance and the restoration plan. And then no response or updates on the next two items, Autumn Properties, rear 161, 165 Northampton Street, and Bernard Gall, 37 South Street. Okay, so moving on to open space updates. Essentially, she appears to have completed a site visit with Land Stewardship Inc. Echodale West, site visit completed. Land Stewardship Inc. working on plan revision. See photos here.
And it won't launch. I
won't
can't
even
get
try.
I can't get it to go.
If Jay can't get it to work, I don't think I stand a chance either. So apparently we'll wait to hear on some updates on Echodale West and hopefully get a schedule for implementing that plan. And then I think that allows us to move on to compliance updates. So I'm just going to go to the items that seem to have some comment under them in her document. Lathrop Community, DEP file number 151283. Is that the current? That is not the current DEP file number that we have open under public hearings. The only comment is that there is a possible expansion. This is regarding invasive plant management, and there's a possible expansion being proposed in the future, but that the commission has not yet received any official filing. Loven Properties, there's a link to some reports, wetland replacement area report and images submitted for review. And SWIP reporting has been, our environmental compliance reporting has been suspended until work on the property resumes. And just as a reminder, this order of conditions was extended to June 16th, 2024. Next item for which there's an update is the White Brook and Broad Brook maintenance dredging. The dredging was completed. And the commission is awaiting a request for certificate of compliance to close out that permit. Let's see. Again, links that we can't access for 1 Ferry Street for inspection reports and 232 Park Street. Same with River Valley Co-op.
Melissa,
Yes.
I did get the links to open on my phone, which doesn't help in terms of sharing them, but if there was anything specific we wanted to look at, I can access them.
Okay. Let's see, I think, what was the last inspection report for White Brook and Broad Brook? I can't tell if this is a new link or just a link that gets carried forward until they submit their request for certificate of compliance.
I do not see anything new for White Brook, Broad Brook.
Okay.
The last thing I'm seeing actually looks like it's from February.
Okay.
And what was the other one you asked?
The next item that said inspection reports was 1 Ferry Street. The actual redevelopment, tract 1 and tract 2.
What's that one? It looks like we have reports from July 13th and, oh, sorry, no, wrong year. It looks like June 24th might be our latest one. They're not in order, sorry.
No, that's fine. I guess I would need to refresh my memory. That site was subject to a SWIP, wasn't it?
I believe so.
And we've had multiple precipitation events greater than 1/4 inch total
Mhm.
precipitation, several in 1 week. So I think I would, as Cassie reviews this meeting to prepare the minutes, I would like to make a note of their reporting status and compliance with regard to post-storm events. Okay. River Valley Co-op, is there a recent inspection report for them?
It looks like the last one in here was from May. So no, it's possible that maybe for some reason I'm not seeing the more up-to-date files
Okay.
because it seems like they're missing for all of these.
Okay. So maybe we just need to touch base with Cassie on the status, reporting status relative to SWIPs.
Alyssa,
Yes.
last meeting, there was a large stockpile of dirt at River Valley, and it has since disappeared, and they made it into some kind of a leveled area. But that was our question last meeting.
Okay. So we still need to.
No reports.
Right. No reports, and we don't know. Was that stockpile within the buffer zone or no?
Julie, do you remember it was right outside the parking lot on the edge adjacent to the field?
Yeah, it was on the, what would that be? The south side of the site. No, west.
Yeah, north
West.
is Valley Medical.
Yeah, yeah. So the south side of the site adjacent to the meadow was where the remaining pile was. And I think they had told us that that was pending putting in the pads for the batteries, which are in now. I noticed that the pads are there. So I assume that that's probably why the stockpile has changed. But to be honest, I did not, maybe because it wasn't there, I didn't take note of the stockpile when I was at the co-op the other day.
Okay. All right. Let's see. We've already talked about roadway improvements on Ferry Street. Are there any recent inspection reports from the new school building project?
Which letter is that? I'm not seeing it.
The L, JK,
Here we
L.
Dang font.
Not that are immediately evident. Oh, hang on. What's this? Something dated 7/21. Which doesn't want to open. Oh, here it comes. This appears to be not a formal report, but email and pictures on conditions after the storm. It's dated 7/21, so I'm assuming it was referring to the heavy storms that we got that week, but that's, I think, the latest thing that I'm seeing.
So I think across the board, I would like to know where open permits with SWIPs or other routine reporting requirements are in terms of compliance.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems like there should be a good number of post-storm inspection reports for sites with SWIPs, regardless of specific requirements for the commission. So
Right.
Okay. Right. No updates. Okay. Did we actually get the July 26th meeting minutes? Did I miss that email?
I'm not sure I saw it.
Okay. Did anyone else see it? So I think we need to push this to our meeting minutes approval to our August 23rd meeting. And then there's an item about in perpetuity conditions and how are they enforced and how do we keep up with the ongoing management based, such as for invasives. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I seem to recall discussion of this at the end of the last meeting. So I guess with that, I don't think there's too much, unless there's something anyone would like to add, but I think we're just going to have to wait until our August 23rd meeting to catch up on a few of these items.
Yeah, I see the minutes were sent to us. So we do have the minutes in an email.
Okay.
It was sent up August 2nd.
Okay.
But we can deal with it next time. It's probably not urgent.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah, Cassie was ahead of schedule there. I don't think I certainly didn't have an opportunity to review them.
Right, so we'll just,
Move on.
I looked them over, but you know, I don't know if that counts. Just one of us,
Yeah.
you checked it for spelling and grammar.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Did you provide any comments to Cassie?
There was only one grammatical error. That was it. I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary for what we, talked about.
Mhm. I think despite your thoroughness, I would prefer we wait until more people have had a chance to review for content as well.
Sure.
Especially since we talked about how to manage conditions in perpetuity. But I'm glad you looked them over, Deb. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. Well, that's the end of our agenda. Would anyone care to make a motion to adjourn the hearing?
Motion to adjourn?
Is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor, roll call vote. August, Fusa,
Aye.
Buttrick,
Aye.
Ryan,
Aye.
Heffer absent with notice. Whittemore? Muted. You're okay. Let the record reflect, Commissioner Whittemore gave us a thumbs up. Motion carries. See you all on August 23rd.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.